When I was a city councilman, I developed a very deep and abiding respect for the men and women of the Tampa Police Department and the Tampa Fire Rescue Department, men and women who every day put on a badge and strap on either a gun or hop on the back of a fire truck and make their rounds to keep us safe. One of the ways that I wanted to be able to honor the commitment of those brave men and women was to figure out how we can give something back to them once we move on in our careers as well. You know, when we have an opportunity to serve in public life, you develop a kinship and a respect for the men and women that protect us, and they're almost like family. And so when we lose a family member, what do we do to honor their memory? Every morning when we wake up, we remember what it was like and what life is now like without them. And so from the standpoint now of the state legislature, how can we give something back? Corporal Roberts gave his life to protect our families, me and my family. And so when we had the opportunity to remember him, we wanted to do it in a way that people would see his name every single day. And his wife and his son would have the opportunity to see his name every single day and know that those of us in public service remember and honor the sacrifice that they have made. We have dedicated a portion of I-275 north of Barris Avenue between Barris and the Pasco County line in honor of Corporal Roberts. A sign will be erected this morning at 10 o'clock, a temporary sign. As all of you know, there's some construction being done up that way. Temporary sign will be erected up there this morning, and then the permanent sign, when the construction is done, will be unveiled. But every morning and every evening, when Cindy and Adam drive by that stretch of road and they see that sign, they'll not only remember their father and their husband, but they'll know that a grateful city of Tampa, a grateful Hillsborough County, and a grateful state of Florida remember his sacrifice as well. This sign unveiling is a collaborative effort between the state of Florida, Hillsborough County, and the city of Tampa. And it's a good thing when governments can work together. And this is one of those ways that governments get to work together and honor the sacrifice and the service of those who put on a badge and protect us every day. So I'd like to introduce some of our distinguished guests here today and people that will be giving their remarks. Chairman Ken Hagan from the Hillsborough County Commission, Mayor Buckhorn from the city of Tampa, Chief John Bennett from the Tampa Police Department, and then of course Cindy will give a few remarks outside when we unveil the sign. So I'd like to first introduce Chairman Hagan from the Hillsborough County Commission. What? Our microphone is not on? Will someone come up and do that for me?
Well, good morning, everyone. Ms. Roberts, family members, men and women of Tampa Police Department, and law enforcement community. On behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, it is a privilege to be with you today as we honor Corporal Mike Roberts with the naming of this memorial highway. Corporal Roberts was a dedicated, caring officer who worked to protect us all. When he faced a criminal menace during his last shift, his only regard was for keeping the community safe. Just like the city of Tampa and Tampa Police Department, Hillsborough County honors and values the heroism and selflessness that Corporal Mike Roberts embodied. That's why Hillsborough County created the Fallen Heroes Remembrance Project and Fund to help families when a first responder dies in the line of duty. Representative Sean Harrison and Senator Jim Norman are to be commended for sponsoring legislation making this road designation possible, along with legislation that may soon provide tax relief for the families of fallen heroes. At the county level, I was very proud to bring forward the resolution authorizing the naming of the highway where Corporal Roberts often drove home on his way from work. And during our April 18th board meeting, the County Commission unanimously approved this designation. Working together, as Sean said, at the local and state levels, it is time to embrace our first responder families and let them know that we will never forget their loss and their sacrifice. And today, with today's dedication, not only do we honor the memory of a true hero, but we guarantee that Corporal Mike Roberts will never be forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Hagan. I'd next like to introduce Mayor Bob Buckhorn from the City of Tampa to give a few remarks as well.
Sergeant, the last time I saw you, we were helping you chase a bad guy through downtown Tampa. It's good to see you, Carl, and it's good to see all of our partners from HCSO here and to join our Tampa Police Department family as we honor a great guy and thanks to our friends in the Florida legislature. Sean Harrison, who was a city councilor who served with me for 4 years, really never forgot his roots. And he really never forgot who raised him up, as they say. And he is true to the Tampa Police Department. Even though he doesn't serve as a council member anymore, he has never stopped helping and believing in what you do every day and understanding the risk that you take every time you get up and put on Kevlar, or in the case of the firefighters, put on bunker gear. This is truly a family. And this Florida legislature and Representative Harrison and Senator Norman and Commissioner Hagan, as well as PBA Greg Stout, who brought to us this year some legislation that we pushed hard in the Florida legislature that would increase pension benefits for surviving spouses and children. And Greg, thank you for standing up and doing for your members what should be done. And again, the Florida legislature stepped up and approved it. The tax abatement that Representative Harrison passed, that the governor's going to sign today, that goes a long way to not alleviating the pain, but certainly making life a little bit better for those who deserve it so much. And so to all of you, thank you for what you do every day. We can never thank you enough. As Sean said, you get up every day to protect our families, and we are forever in debt to you for doing that. And to Cindy, thank you for being such a strong, strong woman. You are a model for all of us. And, you know, in your pain is dignity. And we thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And you heard the emotion in the mayor's voice there as he spoke about the pain that we all feel and the dignity that you all represent in this business. It's so tough. And if I can just digress for a second, when I introduced the Fallen Heroes Family Tax Relief Act on the floor of the legislature this past session, I asked my colleagues, I said, if you've never been to a cop's funeral, you should go, because there is nothing more moving than to hear that final roll call when the voice comes out over the loudspeaker and they call out the badge number, and they call and they call and they call again, and there's no answer. And it brings grown men to tears to hear that. And it's just an incredible experience to have the opportunity to serve with people that are so brave. And one of our own here is about to speak. Assistant Chief John Bennett is going to make a few remarks as well. So Chief, if you would come up and share some thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Harrison. Chief Castor is out of town today. I know she regrets not being able to be at this ceremony. You know, her mission and vision for the agency, we always talk about the last leg of our mission statement is the cooperative partnerships. Most often we talk about the partnerships in the public and the private sector, but quite often we neglect the fact that our partnerships are the elected officials as well. Without their support, we couldn't do what we do. The funding, the support, the ceremonies, everything they do to support public safety, give us the equipment, give us the budgets, give us the capability. We all know the trying times that we're in, and the first thing we think about when we build a deployment is officer safety. And it's the first thing on our mind when we decide to put men and women out on the street is how can we make it safer for them? And we couldn't do that without the support of the personnel resources and the equipment from the elected officials, not only locally and at the county level, but at the state and the federal level as well. So, you know, we have a maxim, and you heard them say it today, let them never be forgotten. This ceremony epitomizes that. You know, this was Mike's house. These are his hallways. The men and women of the department traverse these hallways every day, and then they drive home. And I think it's very fitting that when they do, they'll see Mike's memory, not only in the hallways, but on the interstate as well. God bless. Thank you for coming.
All right, well, now we're all going to follow Cindy Roberts outside, and we're going to listen to a few remarks from her, and we're going to unveil the signs.
Good morning, and thank all of you for coming out here today. I know it's quite humid, even though it's still very early in the morning, but I do appreciate you taking time out of your schedule for this. 2 years ago, we were driving to Washington, D.C. for National Police Week activities, and along that road trip, I noticed in several other states, they had memorial dedications for their law enforcement and their military that had been lost in the line of duty. And I thought it was a wonderful and a beautiful tribute to both those officers and to remind the rest of us as members of society that as we drive along, that we will think of them. After all, a man remembered never truly dies. By having the roadway designations on the section of the road where Mike's name will be placed, approximately 90,000 people will see that every day, and hopefully they'll think about him and they will help the rest of us to keep him alive. That particular section of I-275 between the Livingston Road Bridge and the Pasco County line was special to Mike. He would come home at 2:30 in the morning from work, and very often he would see deer by the side of the road that late at night. And when he would get to the house, the first thing he would talk to me about is the deer, not how his day went, not what happened at work, but about the deer and the other wildlife that he saw on the side of the road that particular evening. So that's how we always started our night, and that makes that part of the road special for me as I continue to drive that section. It's also a very dark and desolate part of the road. There are no street lights, which makes it inherently dangerous for anyone that's, for some reason, needs to pull off to the side of the road. Mike would stop and help any other officer that was pulled over, regardless of the agency that they were with. He would stop and check on them and offer any kind of assistance or backup that they might need. Needless to say, he also stopped to help that motorist along that desolate part of the roadway as well. So it was very important to him for many reasons when he came home, and that makes that roadway very special to the rest of us. The road was also traveled by law enforcement where we live as they come from Pasco and points north southward. I like the dedication for that section to remind those officers, take care, be safe, there's no routine call. It will also remind other travelers as they come into the area that we care as a community, that we care about those that serve and protect us on a daily basis. I want to reiterate and thank the County Commission, the Mayor, Sean Harrison, and the state of Florida for allowing us to have this roadside dedication and memorial to Mike. I know that these are very busy times with other budgetary items, and I appreciate their kindness towards this effort. I want to thank all of you for coming out today. Today's a special day as well. Today is May 31st. This is our wedding anniversary. And while most people on their wedding anniversary will give their spouse a wonderful gift, perhaps going out to dinner, I'll be able to help unveil a sign for Mike and give him that as a present today for our anniversary. Again, I want to thank all of you for coming out and for being here this morning.